Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Growth Unscripted podcast. I'm your boy Devonnte. I'm here with a local artist here today. He called himself the Henrico Hero, okay, to the masses. And he's about to share his story, share his come up, and we're about to get into this conversation. How you doing today, Rich?
I'm good, bro. How you doing? Everything
Doing
cool?
great, bro. I'm feeling great, bro.
Yeah,
Great and blessed.
Same.
So, for those who don't know you, though, can you actually share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. My name is Rich. I go by Pay to Play Rich. I do music. I'm an artist, entrepreneur. I came up on the East End of Richmond in Henrico, per the Henrico Hero.
Okay.
I went to school at Virginia State University, graduated from there. I've had a recording studio in Richmond. I run a business right now. I have my own company, music group, a production company. I dabble in real estate. Do a little bit of that. I think if I was to just put it all in a nutshell, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm just a hustling motherfucker.
I feel you. I respect that.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, you never should judge a book by its cover.
For sure.
You never should.
Never.
So, that's why I want you to introduce yourself, because I know anybody who's looking and they first see you, they're like, who is this guy?
For sure.
Like, okay, cool, he's an artist. All right, cool, he raps. So what else?
What else?
Right?
Yeah.
So, good thing, though, you have all those type of other utilities that you do under your belt, though.
For sure.
Especially in this day and age now, we got to have different streams.
For sure, but that's the reason why I get on these podcasts, and the reason why I make sure it's important for me to, tell my story or allow people to know more about me, right? So with the internet now, a person may come across somebody and they may like their music, but then they want to know more about that person. Like, what is that person into? What type of hobbies do they have? Like, what's their background? So I get on these platforms and I make it my business to do these interviews so people can know more about me. So, you may like my music, but it may not make you a fan. But once you actually get to know me, that'll actually convert people into fans or real supporters and followers. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Because one thing that I always said anyway was that the best way somebody's going to better support you is they get to know the real you.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
Like, they know the full authenticity of you, because anybody can put a front. Anybody can.
Yeah.
But your true fans, who's gonna rock with you no matter what happens, is the ones you know what, I knew him since day one.
Exactly.
He opened up, very grounded individual.
Yeah.
Things like that, right?
Yep. And that's why we're here,
Right. So most people don't know your real name.
Correct.
Right? So walk me through who Rich Mason is when the cameras are off, and what does what does your family call you?
My family called me Rich. My mom calls me Pumpkin.
Pumpkin?
Yeah, even at 32, my mom still called me that. But, I done got to a point now where, I'm accepting of that. But, most of my family call me Rich or call me Cuzzo. You got family. They, whatever I am to them is what they call me. I think when the cameras are off, man, I think that I'm just, I'm super cool. I'm laid back. A lot of people tell me I'm serious a lot. I really have, this super serious demeanor, and I probably get that from my dad. But I normally don't lose my cool, though. I'm normally cool, calm, and collected on any situation. If there's a point in time where I do lose my cool, then, there's probably a valid reason for it, and you should probably stay away. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that.
But for the most part, bro, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father, you know what I mean? When the cameras is off, I'm taking care of my responsibility, being a dad, and, trying to raise my son, right? But, I mean, for the most part, bro, what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying? I'm this. It don't matter any setting. I'm cool. I'm not super energetic. I'm not, I'm just me,
I feel you on that. I'm the same way, because I'll be honest, it takes a lot to get me mad. Honestly, because I'm usually goofy, usually outgoing, everything 99% of the time. Anytime I do get mad, like you said, it has to be a valid reason.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that about myself, and the people who know me know that about me too. There are certain people that's been able to experience me when I'm pissed off, and it's not a fun sight. And I don't even like to get to that point, you know what I mean? Because it's just not good for your health, you know what I mean? In my opinion.
I agree.
To be at that point of like, livid, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So
Especially when like you got all these things you doing now.
yeah.
So like you have an image,
For sure.
you know?
For sure.
And the one thing you want to make sure is that you still remain credible and that you don't showcase yourself outside of your body, especially if you don't need to. Because not everybody, because there's gonna be people that's waiting. They're just waiting.
They're
to
waiting
see.
for an opportunity to see you fall off or something for you to be, in a negative light. You know what I'm saying? And I try not to give that to people, and I don't give that to people. I don't do a lot of like social media back and forths and stuff like that. I'm really trying to do more about keeping my opinion to myself. Because I have a very different opinion when it comes to a lot of topics and things that be going on, and I know that rubs people the wrong way, or some people can't take, somebody being honest and, just upfront about how they feel about certain things. So I really be, holding my tongue sometime when it comes to certain things.
I feel you. Honestly, though, I mean, to me personally, this is me. I know everybody's different, but I honestly can give two fucks how somebody feels. Only for the mere fact because I shouldn't have to limit myself, or if I know like I'm a very intelligent being,
Yeah,
right? That doesn't mean I should have to limit myself for those, right?
I agree.
And then also, if like somebody they can take constructive criticism. Not saying like you're bashing them or anything like that, but these are just like real world things and skills that people need to learn and understand, though.
For sure.
Because like, okay, if you being honest about something with somebody, right? Especially if that's supposed to be that's supposed to be somebody that's supposed to be in your circle. Your circle got to understand that, hey, I'm willing to take constructive criticism. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong somewhere or I need to improve somewhere. Y'all need to be able to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because you are who you hang around.
Exactly.
So if you can't be able to handle criticism or the truth about something, then there's a problem. Because when me and my boy Pooch, like when we be talking and stuff all the time, like he tells me whenever I fuck up on something, I tell him the same thing.
Yeah.
But we don't get mad at each other. Like
sure.
we grown men.
Exactly. And I don't mean to say that in a reference to like, my team or my folks. I think it's more so an internet thing. You know what I'm saying? Everybody have an opinion now when it comes to the internet.
Agreed.
Everybody's entitled to feel how they feel. But I didn't come from an internet time. You know what I'm saying? I came from like I'm a 94 baby, so that means like I came up in that transitional period where we didn't have the internet and the phones and stuff, and then we was able to have access to those things. So we got to see the best of both worlds. But before we had the internet and we had the phones and stuff, we was real people. Like, you know what I'm saying? We was outside and, we had to physically be in front of people when we had conversations and being able to express ourselves and stuff like that. But it ain't like that now. It's more internet based, and people hide behind the internet and they phones and stuff like that.
Yeah, and they talk all the shit they want to over the side, like,
Yeah.
they're never gonna find me, or whatever the case.
Them, X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? So I'm just learning now that it's not really worth putting that energy out. That's it.
I agree. I had like a couple viral clips that's on my Instagram page, right? One of my biggest viral clips I had was the single you was to marry you. Had over almost about 1 million views, right?
Sure.
And there's hella people in there. I mean, hella people who started talking some of the most craziest shit ever, right?
Yeah.
And I just laughed.
It's funny because sometimes people don't even have those opinions or those views. They just say it for the internet. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were to talk to those people in real life, they probably would never say those things that they say on the internet, but they know that, that's going to rage bait somebody, or that's going to create, some type of engagement. It's all a game. You know what I mean? It's all a game.
Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. And you know what? I don't really have to do much because some of the other people who also comment, of course, it's opposite of it. You know, they start arguing with them in the comments.
So look, it's more engagement for you. You know what I'm saying?
And that's all I think about.
That's same, and that's me, and that's me now too. I'm realizing how to use the internet to my advantage. A lot of times I'm very strategic in the stuff that I do. So I put a lot of thought into it, especially when it comes to the internet. So a lot of times, it's funny, I will show you this after we done, but one of my bros just texted me and was like, yo, Rich, I really hate that you engage in these kind of conversations, right? And in my mind, it's like, well, me engaging in these conversations is creating engagement. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Right.
what I need, whether it's positive or it's negative. It's engagement. It's creating the visibility of me as a person, as an artist. You know what I mean? It's like
Agreed.
it's something that's allowing people to talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I need. I need people to talk. I need my name to be circulating, whether that's positive or negative. Now, of course, we want it to be more positive than negative, but that's not always the reality. But as long as I keep being who I am as a person, the positive gonna show more than the negative anyway. You know what I'm
Agreed.
saying?
And it's all about too. So one thing a lot of people do, right? Especially when they make content,
Yeah.
they don't know how to direct it to somebody.
Yeah.
Like they don't know where they want their people to go to. So like if you're able to, it doesn't matter how the conversation is or wherever the clip is about.
Right.
What matters is your call to action. Where is it that you want your audience to go to afterwards? How can you convert this over to whether you want to be more views, more listens,
For sure.
or even just more like monetization for you to make money.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all about that when a person does create content, or wherever that be, is that you make it purposeful and you make it intentional to where you want it to lead to.
Correct.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So now you're a father. You only have one kid.
I only have one kid, and it's gonna be like that for a while.
I feel you.
It's gonna be like that for a while.
So tell me, how's the life been though between everything and you also being a father at the same time?
Oh man, it's been hard to balance. You know what I'm saying? I have people ask me all the time, like, yo, bro, how do you do this? Like, how do you make time to do all of these things with your career and work a job and still be an active father? And, I really don't know the answer to that. The only thing that I can say is God. Like, God, the only person that can allow me to be able to have this type of structure in my life to the point where I can do these things. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't mean to make it spiritual, but I really can't answer the question when people ask me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, bro. I'm just doing it. You know what I'm saying?
You just feel led.
I just feel led. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just do what I'm supposed to do in my life, and, things kind of fall in place. But to answer your question, being a father is great, man, and I think me having my son is another reason why I have that fire or that light under my ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's making me get up and go get it, because I'm realizing, like, my son he's growing at a fast rate. He's gonna get old soon. Not old, but like he's gonna get older to a young kid one day, and I have to be prepared for that. You know what I'm saying? And whatever that may be, whether that's financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, like, I have to be prepared to be able to lead this creation that I created. And that's a lot of determination and motivation for me right there.
I feel you. I'm the same way because I have a daughter who's 6.
Yeah.
And so like with her, that I would definitely say when she was born, that definitely lit like a whole fire under me.
Yeah.
Even more than what it already is.
It's supposed to.
Yeah.
It's supposed to. I feel like as a parent, when you have a kid, and unless you already, super successful, that's supposed to, you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to put a fire under you. It's supposed to motivate you to want to, fix the things in your life to be able to have a successful life and whatever that looks like for you. Because at this point, you're not living for yourself no more. You know what I'm saying? You're living for that child that you created.
Yeah, you got
so
responsibilities.
you got a responsibility to take care of them. So at that point, it's like, you gotta get motivated. You gotta do something different than what you was doing before you had that child. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I'll be honest, some people really don't know how to balance it. And like I said, you just feel led to. But I think as well, it's the whole point of structuring your time. Mm-hmm. And being more intentional with your time.
Oh yeah,
right.
I think that's probably what it is. Like, I'm very intentional with my time at this point. Like, I don't have time to do nothing that don't involve, anything that's going to be positive in my life, or what I feel to be positive right now in this moment. But now that I'm reflecting on it, I think that's what it is. That's the answer right there, is that I've shifted my focus to be more intentional about what I do with my life and my time. So that's probably why I have the time to do all of these things, because I'm not doing the bullshit that I was doing previously. Like I'm not outside every weekend. I'm not outside chasing hoes. I'm not outside doing, bullshit. Like, I'm taking care of my son. I'm going to work. I'm pursuing my career, and I'm getting money. Like those are my focuses right now. You know what I mean? And I make time in my life to do those things. And outside of that, I don't really got time for it. I don't make time for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would say anyway, like people shouldn't be doing things that don't serve them a purpose or don't serve value in their life.
For sure.
Because when people just do just when they do low frequency type of shit,
Yeah.
it ends up fucking them over in the long run.
But some people don't even realize or know what's not purposeful in their life. You may I could go talk to another, and that it comes with maturity to me. I can go talk to another man right now who may be 5 years younger than me, and chasing hoes is serving him in his life right now. But that's just where he's at in this moment. You know what I'm saying? If you were to ask him, that's probably something that he's going to say, because that's just, the maturity mindset. That's just where he at right now. But I just think, as you get older, the more mature you start to realize what's important in life, those things change. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. Yeah. I agree. I'll be honest, I was the same way.
Yeah.
I was the same way.
We all was.
Yeah. We had a moment.
Yeah. We all had those times in our lives where, that was a thing. And not just that, but just stuff that just really just didn't really serve, bettering yourself. Or I'm just at a point right now where success is more important than anything. And I'm doing everything possible in my power for me to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. So
I feel you.
Yeah.
So now let's actually get into your name real quick.
Yeah.
So Rich is spelled with an X.
Correct.
So is that intentional?
It is very intentional.
Okay, and what does the X supposed to represent?
The X doesn't really represent anything. It's really just to take away the C, right? So I'm also a Kappa. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. So shout out to the good noops. So as a Kappa, we use K a lot for all of, our, stuff that we do, our lingo and the way we type certain words. And, it's an internal thing. So that was more so what that was. I mean, there was some other stuff that was a coupled into it prior to, but I don't really want to get into that. You know what I'm saying? I think my answer I want to give you is that I'm a Kappa, and that's the reason why.
It's all good. I know y'all got certain guidelines y'all can't go past.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
rules and structure.
I wasn't more so speaking in reference to Kappa. Just I was at another place in my life where that would, where I could explain that, but I'm past that point in my life right now, so I ain't even at the point of bringing it up. You know
okay, what I mean? I got you. So,
if you know, you know.
So, you go by Henrico Hero. Yep. So, what exactly is that title for? What is it supposed to represent?
Man, it's great that you asked me that. So I'm gonna start from the beginning. I've just been, in the last year or so, man, I've been having a lot of conversations with people that are from my section, and they've just been giving me a lot of praise and just, kind of letting me know that I'm inspiring them, and I'm helping them, figure out what they want to do, and I'm giving them a feeling of hope. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That whether they can do music or they can just do whatever that they want to do, because they see me chasing my dream, and they see me like, really, really moving in a progressive, positive way. And this is conversations that people are having with me that I'm not even asking. I'm not asking people, like how they feel about me as an artist, or, what's my impact. These are just genuine conversations that people are having with me. So, after internalizing those conversations, to me, I feel like, a hero to a certain extent, right? And when we talk about the rap scene or hip hop in Richmond, there's not too many people from Henrico or from the county that you're gonna name that's gonna be worth talking about. And if you ask me, I'm one of the first people that's being acknowledged from my section. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I coined myself as the Henrico Hero for that reason, because one, I know that there's people watching me. I know that there's people looking up to me. I know that there's people inspired by me. And I know that based off of the foundation that I built and what I've been doing, I'm one of the first ones to do it from where I come from. You know what I mean? So, I just felt like it just fit. It made a lot of sense. You know what I mean?
I feel you.
Yeah.
So based on the experiences of what you been through, pretty much, that kind of like helped formulate the, okay, you know what? Due to like what I'm receiving from people,
Yeah.
this is now like, I feel like this is like a transition to like this type of calling.
For sure.
To where I'm going to.
Exactly. And I think that's more so of it, right? Like now I'm at a point where it's like I can't stop. I can't quit, because now I have these people who are looking at me to finish the job. Like, you know what I'm saying? So and that's important to me. You know what I'm saying? I wear that proudly. You know what I'm saying? I have people tell me all the time, like, yo, bro, you got the East End on your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? And it's, that's a humbling thing to hear. You know what I mean? It makes me happy, but at the same time, it makes me realize, like, all right, bro, you got work to do. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really like do this thing, and you can't play around with it. You gotta take it serious. And that's just really what I've been on. And I coined myself that. I hate to have to like self-proclaim, but I know another man ain't gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? I know
Talk your shit.
Yeah, I know another man ain't gonna say what I'm saying, and that's okay. But I'm gonna be the one to do it. You know what I mean?
I feel you. Yeah. So speaking of that too, as well, when you talk about the East End,
yeah.
So for those who don't know, Richmond has a north side, south side, west end, and east end.
For sure.
So what does someone need to understand about the East End specifically to understand your music to your brand?
Ain't nobody ever asked me that question.
Hey, so in this podcast we go deep. I tell you.
That's a good question. You just got to understand that there's two sides to the East End, right? There's a more high class East End, and then there's a more grittier and street side of the East End, right? And at any given moment, you can be surrounded by people of both ends. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you came up where I came up at, and you kind of understand and you can hear it in the music, because I do both. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give like the street talk, but I also am speaking in an intelligent way. You know what I mean? It's like I'm contrasting in both worlds, you know what I'm saying? And I also feel like that's kind of like my gift of gab, because I'm able to do both, I'm intelligent enough to be able to create bars that, people have to actually think about. But I'm also, street smart enough to know that I can relate to those type of people. You understand what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Yeah.
And it's about you, because you also making sure as well you're not trying to position yourself as like the regular run of the mill, local rapper.
Yeah,
or anything like that.
I'm way past that. And I hate the term like local rapper, but I also understand it at the same time, because when I think local rapper, I'm thinking literally local. Like there's no visibility, there's no brand outside of the local area.
Right.
But in my case, that's not the case, right? Like I've been to I've been to a lot of the prominent places on the East Coast, and I've done shows there, and I've worked with some of their artists, and I've been on tour, and from here to California. So when we talk about local, I'm past local. That's why I don't get caught up in too much of the politics from here, because I'm realizing like that's gonna keep me in a bubble. That's like the crab in a bucket mentality. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
me knowing who I am, like I'm past that. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, because you want to make sure that you don't get caught up in all of it, because then you get caught up in there, or they see you on social media talking about it.
Yeah.
Then it's gonna get your name wrapped around in it. Next thing you know, then people gonna see a different perception of you.
For sure.
And stuff like that.
One
so
thing
you gotta
leads
stick
to another, and now it's all bad.
It's a whole piece of shit.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay, so you said before that it's okay for your crown to fall. but you have to put it back on. So take me to the day your crown fell the hardest and the moment you weren't sure you could pick it back up again.
Okay, I'll take you to that moment. I had a point in time in my life where I found out about my dad having cancer. I found out that my dad had cancer, and I can't remember if it was before or after, but I found out that I was having a kid, right? During that time, you know, it was a hard moment for me, because I think, you know, my job that I had wasn't the best job. You know, my extra hustles that I had going on wasn't really like working. It was just, you know, a lot of negativity in my life, man, and music really wasn't where I wanted it to be either. Um, and, and and if we put it in terms of, you know, my crown slipping, that was really what that was, because I was allowing myself to, you know, think negatively. I was, you know, putting myself in a depressive state. And then my father passed. And then after my father passed, I had my son. After I had my son, me and my son's mother broke up. I had an apartment with her. I had to leave that apartment and I had to go back and stay with my mom, until I can get back situated. So all of this stuff was happening in like a 6 to 8 month span, man.
Wow.
Yeah, bro. And it was a lot for me to bear and handle and deal with, and internalize too. But I think there was a point in time in that where, you know, my son came, and, you know, he kind of helped me, you know, put my crown back on my head and realize, like, you know, it's not the end of the world. You feel me? Like, you gonna figure this thing out. And you know, that's when I kind of started leaning more into, like, you know, spiritual, like trying to pray more and, you know, get closer to God, and, you know, just trying to find direction, you know, because when you in a moment like that, man, where, you know, you just lost somebody that's close to you like that, well, actually, you know, well, yeah, you lost somebody like that that's close to you, and your girl leave you, and now you got this kid that you got to step up to the plate for, and then you got regular life going on, bills is still due, you know what I'm saying? Your hustles that you got going on ain't working. It's like, you know, you gotta find you gotta find that within you to be able to pick yourself back up. And sometimes you can't do that on your own. Sometimes you gotta lean on God to be able to, you know, help you out of that time. And I feel like that's what I did. And, you know, but it started with me though. It started with me being able to say, you know what, I'm gonna figure this out. And that was me, like, putting my crown back on my head and, you know, just wearing it proudly.
I can resonate with you on that heavy because I spoke about this a couple probably like about five, like around 4 or 5 episodes ago. But a couple years ago I went to, not saying I lost my dad or anything, but I definitely went through a lot of craziness all within a span of, really for real, like within like a month.
Yeah.
Between me and my girlfriend breaking up. Then also I lost my job when I used to work IT. So, and on top of that too, I, I had to deal with figuring out how, like, I had to deal with between either going back to my mom's house or having to traveled and go to Florida and then take a risk there.
Yeah.
Just so I can at least have a better opportunity. Right. And I was in a dark space
Yeah.
for a good bit
Yeah.
between that and me trying to find out a sense of direction. And I had to figure out, like, you know, how do I proceed from here?
Right.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And after that, I mean, fast forward, I mean, I was just able to, you know, start hanging around the right people. Started, you know, people who actually see the same vision I see.
Yeah.
You know, and then next thing you know, it started gradually, like, my mental, everything started getting better.
Yeah.
More and more blessings now is happening.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So, like, being able for us to, you know, be able to resonate and being able to, you know, see, like, you know, even though we have all this darkness going on, we were still able to find a way to, like, even between you losing your dad and your son, and then your son coming to the world,
Yeah.
it was like a life was lost, but also another life was gained at the same time.
Exactly. And I think the point that I was, you know, to bring it full circle, it's like some people are not able to find that light or find that within themselves to put their crown back on their head and get back to doing what they was doing and wearing it. Some people just let the crown fall and that just be it, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
they never really be able to get back up from that. So I give myself a pat on the back, because again, a lot of people are not able to come back from certain things and not be able to deal with life when it hits you. You know what I mean? Sometimes people are not able to pick themselves back up after life hit them. You know what I mean? But I was able to do that, and that's where the whole like crown and being able to when it fall, you just got to be able to pick that shit back up and put it back on and wear it. That's it.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, what was like the last good memory that you had with your father before he passed?
The first thing that come to my mind was, and this is something so simple, but we were shooting hoops in my backyard, in my parents' backyard. I got a basketball court back there, that I had since I was a kid, and I don't know if we were having a cookout or we just was throwing stuff on the grill, and I was out there shooting hoops, just shooting around, and my dad came out there and we was shooting and just talking, shooting the shit. And I think that was probably the most prominent moment that we had, like before his passing or before he got sick, like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. So
And what was like, and if you could ask him, if he was here, what would you want to ask him right now?
if my father was here, what would I want to ask him right now? Mm. I would ask him to give me, tips and advice on being a dad. Like, that's really what I would do. I would talk to my dad and ask him more questions just about navigating fatherhood and, how he did it. That's really one of the things that I wish I could ask or talk to him about.
All right. And what was like, so when your son was born and everything, right, with everything that was going on,
Yeah.
what's one thing that you swore to yourself that you want to do differently compared to through your experience with your dad and then now with your son? What was one thing you swore to yourself that you want to do differently on?
Just being there more. My dad was there, but my dad was working a lot. You know what I'm saying? And as a kid, you don't really understand it. As a kid, you want your parents and you want your people to be there for you when you doing things, because it helps you have that confidence that you need to be able to you know to be able to perform well, right? So, and
Right.
when I say that, I mean, like, when as a kid, when you have basketball games, you have football games, you have baseball or whatever the case may, whatever it is that you're doing, knowing that you got your dad out there rooting you on or your mom rooting you on, and you can hear them, you know what I'm saying? That creates a kind of confidence within you that that helps you out. And I think, because my dad had to work so much to take care of, home, that he didn't have the ability to be able to be there as much as I wanted. Now, was my father there? Yeah, he was there when it came to, certain events or certain things, but, I think the difference that I want to make is having my son having access to me way more often than I was able to have access to my father. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why, another reason why I'm pursuing my dream and I'm really taking it serious and, investing into myself, because I understand the importance of that for my son. I need to be able to have that leisure to be able to to go to basketball games, show up to parent teacher conference, like, you know what I mean, supporting my son and whatever it is that he want to do, just having the time to be able to do that. Like, I don't want to tell my son, oh, daddy can't come to this today because I got to go to work. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
I don't want that for myself. So
No, I get it. It's the same with me for my daughter because, like you said, basketball games, football games. So I used to play football and soccer.
Yeah.
I wanted, like, see my dad out there in the stands and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though he only lived like about 5 minutes away, he just never showed up really.
Yeah.
It was probably maybe a small handful if he did.
Yeah.
But still, it's just that those parts of me knowing that and then me knowing how I felt.
Yeah.
Those are things I took with me. Like, I don't want my daughter to ever feel like this.
Exactly.
That's
exactly
and I
what
want to show, and I want her to know that I'm here for her.
Yeah.
I may not be able to make it to every single thing.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure to make it at least well over 90% of it.
Oh, for sure.
And especially at least the most important ones more than anything.
For sure. And that's and that's the goal. And that's the only thing that I would say that I would want to do different. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a good life, man, and my dad made sure I had a good life, and I'm thankful for that, and I forever have, gratitude for it. And I'm going to do the same thing for my son. But I think the only difference is that I would just make sure that, I situate myself now to the point to where when my son get older and he doing these certain things, I can be there to support. That's it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What's the, so let me see here. Because that was actually another good question I actually wanted to ask you too. So, grief shows up a lot in your music.
Yes.
And as the venting series, I think it was venting series 1 and 2 and 3.0.
Yeah.
Right. So why did you have to make tell me, why did you have to make a third one, and what was still in there? Like within, I guess you say that process when you was making that last series.
When you say what was in there in the last one, what do you mean?
Like when you after you made series 1 and 2, right?
Yeah.
I guess, was there still more pent up inside of you that you wanted to get out, and why that made you wanted to make 3.0?
Part of it, but I think the biggest piece is like in my music, I have a hard time going beneath the surface. So a lot of times the stuff that I talk about when it comes to personal is surface level. And, I don't really express myself as much as maybe I should. So I use the venting records to be able to really vent. You see what I'm saying? And just get everything off that, I'm feeling in that current moment in time when I'm writing that record. And I'm going to keep on doing venting records. I don't know to what point will I stop doing them. And I'm going to always coin them as venting. But I just think it's good for an artist to be able to it's like therapy. You know what I'm saying? It's therapy to me to be able to express these things and these feelings that I have and put them on wax, so that, other people can hear it and they can fit. Because there's other people in the world who feel the same way that I feel. You know what I'm saying? They just don't know it because we haven't talked about it. But my music is our outlet for us to be able to bond over those things that we both have, those problems that we dealing with, or we have those feelings that we feeling. And that's what the venting records are for, man. And I just try to be transparent in my venting records and really just, say how I'm feeling and what's on my mind and my chest, There's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you do it that way too, because I do agree that every artist needs to, or any individual period needs to have some way to vent.
Yeah.
To where it's in like a positive outlet.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Because even for me, even though I'm not an artist, but I know I'm very skilled in creating like AI storytelling and stuff like that. So like back in June, actually Juneteenth of last year, I made a TikTok video, but I did a AI generated storytelling type of thing.
Okay.
So I did one where I did one where a modern black man went back in time, talked to the slaves back then, and they had a podcast session in the cotton field, and he talked about pretty much how men were back then compared to how men act acting
Now,
something today. Yeah. And that clip went viral. And I did another one where black men, where it was like a, I did another one where it was like a black man. It was in a funeral, and the black man was in the casket. His daughter walks up to it, and then what it did was I made like the sound effects, made the screen go black, and had a little girl say, "Don't leave me, Papa, please." And then it did a all black screen, popped up a light, and had the black man show up in the middle in a dark room talking about his pains and stuff that he went through.
Okay.
And so during that time, I was going through stuff inside me internally, but I want to find a way to outlet myself.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
So like that was my way of expressing it.
Yeah.
In that type of format.
And that's good that you're finding, creative and positive ways to do it, because a lot of men don't know how to channel that into, something positive. They would it's the easier route for them to just crash out, or like, engage in negative behavior because of the stuff that they going through, man. And so it's good that, we still got, black men that's finding positive ways to outlet those, feelings and, things that they going through, for sure.
Agreed. And so your every entrepreneur has a story that they don't really tell on Instagram.
Yeah.
But really, right? So what's a chapter of your life, whether that's a mistake or a stretch, you're not proud of, and that the playerism brand would not have survived if you told it 3 years ago, but you can talk about it now.
It's like like multiple questions in one.
I know it was kind of loaded.
Yeah.
I can break up some pieces if that makes it easier.
Yeah. Let's do it like that.
All right. So what's a chapter of your life where a mistake or a stretch you're not proud of?
A chapter in my life, a mistake or a stretch that I'm not proud of. I think early on, as like, as a kid, young teenager, I was like heavily on trying to be like something that I wasn't. I was heavy on trying to do like hood shit, be around like my hood friends, and claim things that they were a part of that really wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's probably the best answer that I can give you, man, is that, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of the fact that I didn't realize that I was already cool enough that I didn't have to try to do those things. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that I can say, that I'm not proud of, is that, I was trying to portray something that I wasn't. You know what I mean? Now, granted, I've been around these things. I have family who has come from, bad neighborhoods, poverty, but that's not my life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, it's always been cool to be the bad guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's always, that lore of, the bad boy has always been, cool.
It's been the stereotype more so
for sure
a lot of us, especially for the black community.
Exactly. And I think that just as a kid, not being mature, man, I just thought it was cool, and it was something that I felt like that I should be doing. And, to be honest, it wasn't a good thing at all. You know what I mean?
So when was that shift? Like, when was it like you realized one day, like when you was doing everything like that you was like, you know what, I shouldn't be doing this shit?
It was in high school. Man. I had, multiple people, talk to me, family members, and just having conversations. And, I think I came to the realization that people at my high school were appreciating and liked me and my group of friends because who we were. And I think that was kind of like the turning point for me, where like, well, why the fuck do I need to be like them? And these people are accepting me and liking me for being like these guys. And I think at that point in time, it was like, oh, okay, well, I don't really need to do that. You know what I'm saying? I lean more into like, me being who I am and where I come from and, making that, creating that cool. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my friends in my area that I grew up in, we always made things cool our way. You know what I'm saying? Like always. I feel like we were trendsetters to a certain extent. I ain't even gonna say to a certain extent. We were trendsetters in my section and where we came from. Like it got to the point where we was so cool and we didn't even coin ourselves this, but people were calling us the DTM boys because we came up in a neighborhood and that's what that stood for. But they all knew us for like hanging around each other. We was click tight. We always did things together, and we was just a different type of cool. Like we wasn't like hood cool. We was like preppy school kid cool. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
And people like that. And then I was realizing, oh, I'm getting girls, and they liking me, and I'm kind of popular a little bit. Like I'm like, all right, I can do this. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So yeah, that's really it for real.
Okay. Hold for 1 second. Okay, so let's get into pay to play.
Okay.
So what is pay to play? What made you create pay to play?
So I've always had a entrepreneurial mindset and spirit. Again, like I told you, I used to have a recording studio called Goats Recording Studio, and we had that on Midlothian. I ran that with my boy Cam. Shout out to Cam, that's my cameraman now. And shout out to my man Inks. We were all like co-owners of that company. And then I had another record company that I started when I was in college. It never went anywhere. But I've always had the mindset that I wanted to create, to create my own label or music group. And pay to play kind of came about because that was the name that I gave myself as an artist. Through my friend Josh. Shout out to Josh. I tell people this story all the time. We were in a group chat. I got a group chat with some friends from college. And we were in there talking about like the girls that we would sleep with or pay to sleep with, right? Like celebrity girls or whatever the case may be.
A Megan Stallion.
A Megan Stallion, a Megan Good,
Megan Good, my wife. You can't touch her. she mine.
My bad. But yeah, so like we was having those conversations about them type of women, and I was the one in the group chat saying yes to majority of them. But we was like joking around.
Right.
But my friend ended up, my boy Josh, shout out to Josh, he ended up saying like pay to play Rixh during the conversation. Like we all laughed at it. But when I heard it, it was like that kind of got a ring to it. You know what I'm saying?
A little salt on that thing.
Yeah, for sure. It got a little sauce to it. So I did my own research and figured out what pay to play meant, and it meant like to get into the game. And at that current moment in time in my life, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to get into the music industry. I was trying to get into the game. So it kind of just stuck. It kind of just stuck with me. And then I used it to create a brand. I changed like the meaning of it. Now pay to play means to invest into yourself for a greater good. You got to pay to play. You understand what I'm saying? And you investing, the investing is the pay part. Because when you invest, not all the time is it like physical money, but you're investing by paying, your time, your energy, whatever the case may be. And the play part is your life, right? Like how you play, like how your life goes. So, pay to play started with that. And then as an artist, I just built a foundation on it. And then that's when, as I built my foundation, that's when the music group part came. And then I was just like, okay, now I'm going to turn this into like an actual company, like, and build on that. And that's just what I've been doing, man. I've been building on it. And now it's getting to a point where I wouldn't say it's a household name yet, but it is a name.
Getting there.
It's getting to that point where it's becoming a household name, man. And that's the goal.
Okay. So I love the pay to play concept.
Yeah.
I love that now it's up and coming. So that's
sure.
dope.
Yeah.
So tell me then. So walk us through the pay to play ecosystem. Like, is your explaining so like you're explaining it to a venture investor. So like, cause I think you have like P2P MG Productions, the store, the gallery, program for players, the book. Like, what's the connective tissue about it all?
It's all pay to play, right? So the ecosystem, right? The way that I have my company and my business set up is pay to play association, right? And that's considered to be my holding company. And underneath my holding company, I have pay to play music group, and then I have pay to play productions, and then I have fair play clothing, and then I have the players lounge, which is a show that we're working on, building right now. So I have all of these entities underneath this pay to play association umbrella, and that's the ecosystem. But the ecosystem is important because as an artist, you need all of these things to be able to be successful, right?
Right.
So I have the music group so that artists can have distribution and they can, have the resources from a label. And then I have the production side, right? The production is another aspect to, an artist's career when it comes to their content, their videos, and, anything of that nature. And then we have the clothing, right? There's this fair play clothing. That's the merchandise, which is another revenue stream that, artists can create for themselves. They don't have to be fair play, but that's just mine. And then we have the players lounge, which is a show like with different episodes, and that's like the entertainment factor, and that's another revenue stream that we can use to put on to streaming platforms, and whether that's like Prime, Netflix, or YouTube, whatever the case may be. So the ecosystem is being built, but the goal with the ecosystem is to create a infrastructure where I don't need any outside resources.
Do everything all in house.
Do everything in house. All money in is the blueprint that I got from Nipsey Hussle, and that's exactly what he was doing, and that's exactly what I'm trying to implement. I take a lot of his program, and I paid attention to a lot of what he was doing with his all money in brand, and the concept is exactly that. It's just having your own infrastructure built around you as an artist to the point where you don't need any outside resources for you to be successful. And that's what I'm building. That's the pay to play ecosystem.
I love that.
It's dope.
That
man.
shit fire, bro.
Yeah, for sure, bro. It's like one of those things, man, that's not really being talked about enough. It's not being, it's not being praised, but I'm not looking for that. What I'm looking for is,
Impact.
I'm looking for the impact of it, man, and I'm looking to see how I can impact others, and what that does for the other people, and my community, or my artist, and whatever the case may be. It's really just inspiration, man. For other people and stuff like that.
Man, you gave a lot of gems.
Yeah,
and I like to pay. I like to pay to play. I love
I
that
appreciate
shit.
that, bro. I
love
appreciate
it.
that, man.
Bro, I wish I could have you on longer, bro. Cause I said I still want to get in even more conversations, but
Listen, bro, hold those questions, save them, put them in the doc somewhere, because man, we can definitely come back and do another one of these sometime soon. I know I'm gonna be having an album come out in the next couple of months, man.
Okay.
I would love to revisit this conversation, talk about that a little bit, and you can even ask me some more in-depth conversation.
So question.
Yeah.
How you love if I'm able to get it together?
Yeah.
How you love we do this, but also incorporate like a live performance to where like you perform for a little bit, then you come back, sit down, and talk, and we talk about it.
Okay, we could do that for sure.
Do you like that?
Yeah, we could do that for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be dope.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, man. Let's do it. You know what I mean? That way people can see the talking, see, who I am as a person, but also see how good I am in music as well.
Oh yeah, we're doing it. People, we're getting it done.
For sure.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that shit.
Yeah.
Bro, Rich, I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Again, I like what you're doing with the Growth platform and the podcast, and a lot of times when you go get on these podcasts, man, it's super surface level. And today you asked me some beyond surface questions that even made me have to think a little bit. So I appreciate that, man, and the time and effort that you put into it. So definitely keep doing what you're doing, brother, for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All I care about is trying to make it's for people to get like the real nuance of not just anybody who comes on, but like you really get to know who they are, know they come up, and just know that they can do just like anybody else. It just requires more consistency behind it.
Yeah, that's it, bro. That's
Feel me?
it. Yeah, for sure.
So listen, if y'all enjoyed the episode and y'all want to make sure to listen more to it, make sure y'all go ahead, like, subscribe. Make sure to go ahead and hit that follow button too on the Apple Podcast platform and all other podcast platforms too, please. Thank you.
For sure.
And listen, we got more coming up very soon, so stay tuned for that. But make sure to leave a review and make sure to leave a comment too. Like if y'all like something, tell me what you like most about the episode. Also, if y'all want any topics or anything that want to be discussed or any potential guests, let me know. I got you. Just let me know and I get it connected, get it all set up. But y'all, appreciate y'all listening in. And also we'll make sure to catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.